Hey everybody, so I just wanted to jump on here today and leave my review for the autobiography Hello Molly by Molly Shannon. Now, I think many, including myself, are huge fans of Molly Shannon. If you're not, I think there's something wrong with you. Just kidding. But in all seriousness, I mean, she's one of the comedic greats, at least for my generation growing up. Just as a kid, she was so popular on SNL. And if you're unfamiliar, because of one of her iconic characters that she originated, Mary Catherine Gallagher, got a big movie deal just on that character alone, which was called Superstar. So that's kind of how I was introduced to Molly Shannon. I hadn't seen her on SNL first. I had been watching just movies that she was in, and Superstar was the first I came across. And I just absolutely loved it. Even at like age 8, I think I was, when it came out, I was laughing so hard, and I still laugh at that movie today. So I've always been a fan of hers just from as early as I can remember. Movies like Never Been Kissed, even when she was Cindy Lou Who's mom and The Grinch. Movies that she's just been in, I think, have just always been terrific. Even if the movie itself wasn't all that great, I think Molly's involvement always made the movie just a little bit better because she's quite the scene stealer. So I was very excited when she came out with a memoir because I love her. So why not dive into some parts of her past and things of her journey and just how she got to where she is today. The thing I want to commend her the most for is that she opens the book with a very personal and private chapter in her life, which was at age 4, she was in a horrific car accident with her family that ultimately took the lives of her baby sister, her mother, and her cousin. So it's very, horrific to imagine that at such a young age, of course you're young enough to really not really, I guess, maybe remember too much, but imagine that you lose a parent at such an impressionable time in your life. It kind of really does set the tone for the rest of your life. And definitely as you read this book, you read about a lot of the struggles she went through, that as she was getting such success and fame, a lot of that was very hard for her, and she would get very depressed because she was aching and missing her mom. So to start the book that way, I thought was, just so brave and admirable, because it's a great way for us just to get an idea of not everything is funny all the time. There are a lot of personal and raw moments that we as human beings go through. But I love that she was able to channel a lot of that into comedy, and that's kind of how she is such a comedic great that she is. There's a lot of personal entries. I like that as you read this book, it's not your typical autobiography. And what I mean by that is I feel like this is more of just conversations that Molly is having with the reader. It feels as if she's just talking to you very normally, maybe jumping from one conversation to the next. A lot of tangents that unveil itself as she talks through this. And I thought that was very interesting. So we can be talking about her time at SNL, but she'll be like, ooh, and then this happened, and ooh, then this happened. So you're kind of just taking on this journey, through each chapter with a different segment or a different story that kind of just comes into play that she pulls from, because she'll be talking about one thing, like I said, and all of a sudden she'll draw from another experience and throw it all in there. So it almost feels like maybe you're just sitting with her and she's just telling you multiple different stories that don't seem like they're written in the traditional narrative. But that's why I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. There are a lot of really sweet moments. I think there are a lot of great things that she discusses about her children. I didn't really know that she even had kids. I didn't know too much about that part of her life, but I was really happy to learn that just being a mom has taught her so much. And again, there's just many different essays that you'll go through just of her time in the early stages of Hollywood when she was just trying to get in the door of Hollywood. A thing called the Mammoth Scam, which I think is one of the funniest things I'd ever read, and how she actually got herself on the show Twin Peaks as a result of that scam. Just things that she did. There was a lot of surprises here, and not to spoil much, but she was quite a rebel when she was younger. Shoplifting to be one of them, dining and ditching at restaurants. I was like, I never would have pegged Molly Shannon to be quite the rebel. But you know what? Even though I don't agree with those things, and nor does she now, of course, when you're younger, people may have thought as a teenager this was a rite of passage. It is kind of rad and badass to see that she had this past of her own, that she isn't just as this sweet and innocent as we always imagined her to be. She definitely has a wild side. So there was something fun and humorous to discover about that. But long story short, I think this is a really fun book. Very much in vein of other wonderful autobiographies and essays of stories like that I've read. Also kind of following in line of Amy Poehler, Amy Schumer, Tina Fey, Drew Barrymore. Loved all those autobiographies as well. So this kind of goes right there in that category. So if you've read those, then I think you're definitely going to enjoy this one. So if you're a big fan of Molly Shannon, like I said, don't miss it. It's a really good read. It's a really easy read. Of course, here's Mary Catherine Gallagher on the back. But yeah, hello Molly. It was a real treat. And I just love reading autobiographies. And this one now adds to that list of just so much fun. So if you have read it, let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you haven't, I'm definitely recommending you check it out.